Welcome, everybody, to Railbirds TV and a special segment, Player Review. This is the Derby City Classic 2024 One Pocket Division, Round 3. It will be yours truly, Scott Frost, versus the young gun and straight shooter, Shane Wolford. Going over the rules real quick. This is one pocket. It is lag for the break. It will be alternate break following that. Each opponent has a designated pocket. The first player to make any 8 balls wins that game. Any foul will cost you a ball. And 3 foul rule is in effect. Pretty excited to do this because if you really know me behind the scenes of pool, I kind of walk around with an attitude, but it's really all just a show. And I am my own worst critic. I'm pretty hard on myself. And in saying that, I want to speak about Shane Wolford. He is deadly. Shane had a chance. He was playing for the hot seat at the Buffaloes Classic in New Orleans, and not only just the Buffaloes Classic, but the biggest one in the history of the Buffaloes Classic as far as the money. It was the Buffaloes One Pocket Classic, and I think there was 300 and some $1,000 in the Calcutta with 22 players. Wolford was playing for the hot seat. Lunda beat him, and Wolford ended up finishing third. I believe Danny Smith beat him to get to the final. I took fourth, but the field was loaded. And I guess my whole point to that is that going into this match, my mindset was that I've got to keep him off the shot, but in order to beat him, I also have to stay aggressive. The first thing I got lucky on is the lag. So I know how important it is to lay down a good break in a race to 3. If you can hold serve, you can't lose. So I felt really good about that. Immediately, I was concerned about the 3 ball. As I walked around, you'd see on the right, my eyes, I was glaring at the 5-7, 13-3, because a lot of times in one pocket off the break, that ball will get wired up. As you see on your screen, it's going just high of the pocket, so I'm free and clear of that. So I did lay down a good break. The problem is the 2's cuttable if he decides to chip off of the 3. He could kick at the 2, right? You could kick at the bottom of the 2, but I think that you'd have to use a right-hand English, meaning if you catch the bottom of the 2, the cue ball comes down below the 4. So you want to catch the 2 thin. Okay, and if you'll notice, he caught it thick, but he also seemed to put a little left spin on it, which carried the cue ball upwards. And once again, I'm looking at the 7-13-3 to make sure that it's not wired. Therefore, I can bank this 4 ball without any risk. So I'm totally committed to knocking this in with position on the blue 2. I knocked that down, and from here, you've got to get position, in my opinion. On the 9, I think that you can open everything up and possibly go into the edge of the 12 that way. Shane Wolford waiting patiently for his opportunity. So this is all about the speed. You definitely don't want to overhit it. You want to carry an angle. It looked like I hit that too soft, but it magically got what looks to me to be perfect. Here, I believe that I'm going to come off the 15 and think I'm going to catch the 12. And I missed the 15. If I catch any part of the 15 there, I know I'm going to go into the 12. So that was an error on my part without any question. I should have looked at it a little better. Maybe put a little low inside on that to where I know I'm catching the 15. And now I'm in a little bit of an awkward position. The only thing I have going for me is that nothing goes really in Wolford's pocket clearly. The 3 hasn't moved. It's high of that pocket of his. The 8 looks pretty good to me, but really what I want to do is get it to my side and just play the cue ball up there towards the top middle so that he doesn't have a cross corner on the 6. Well, I've definitely kept him off the shot, but at the same time, I've kind of tied the 6 up with the 8. I don't know that the 8 passes the 6. Hard to tell. He can't just come off the 5 here. That lower right corner is definitely in play. The 5 is basically on the spot. So he might have to do something with the 12. I would almost not fault him for cutting the 12 towards his pocket, maybe not even to make it, and just swing the cue ball 2 rails up to the top left corner. He doesn't like that, can't fault him. And this is a really nice shot. Opens something up on his side. While doing so, though, nothing else really working for him. He opened up the 5 and the 10 for me. So here, I think I could wedge him between the 13 and 15 and move the 3. So the angle wasn't there to wedge him on the 13 and 15. He is an aggressive player. He executes so well. We're playing on 4.5-inch pockets, 9-foot diamond Pro-Am table with brand new Simona's cloth. And I can't fault him for banking at this ball. Actually looked to me like he hit it really well. Came a little long. Did great with the cue ball. I almost think I could cut the 10 here and come into the back of the 12. I do have a 3-0 ball lead. And in my thought process, playing this straight shooter, going into the match, my game plan was to do my best to keep him off of anything aggressive. And if I can do that, I'll do my job. So I think removing the 12 is probably the right play. And I think Wolford's mindset's kind of the opposite. He's going to be the aggressor, even though I'm a creative player. He's going to be the one that's going to look for the shot to try and make something happen. And it's his style, and it works for him. He's obviously not a very seasoned one-pocket player, but he knows the game well enough. He's looking to play the 6 off the bottom of the 8 here. Oh, wow, what a hit. What a great hit that was. I think he's got me covered on the 15. So I'm fortunate that the cue ball got one rotation up that it did. If he parks me behind the 10, I am in big trouble. Yeah, pretty fortunate that I could see that ball, just calling it like it is. If that cue ball stays back of the 10 another inch, I'm in big trouble. I'm going to have to kick one rail below the 6 and take a foul. Here, he would like to get me in between the 5 and 14, married to the maroon 7. Ooh, he put a touch of right English on it, which sent the cue ball low. So that was also an error on Wolford's part. Looks to me like he might have me in the kiss here. Can't quite tell if that 6 is a little high from straight in. There you have it. It is just a little high of the pocket, so that's quite risky, banking at that ball. Once again, I think the right play here would be to just bank the 15 up towards the 5 or 10 and play the cue ball tight below the 6. Just continue to keep him off the shot. There's nothing wrong with moving another ball to my side of the table. We know his strong suit is shooting, so you don't want to play into that. I really want to shoot this 6, but I think if I did shoot it, I'm going to give up position, meaning I'm going to play it to make it and get position on the 5 or 10. Okay, I go back to this, and I think that's probably the right play. Even though I wanted to go at the 6, I've got to keep this young man off of the shot. He's got to be careful here to protect on the 14 and 7. So it looks to me like I can bank the 7. I am going to go into the 14. Definitely not straight in. Yeah, the cue ball's pretty steep, but I think I can use the 14 to get behind the 6. This would be a straight high cue ball. Oh, and I caught the kiss on the 14. And I've ended up pretty fortunate here to double him up on the bank. 6 cut seems pretty thin as well. He's going to take a look. Yeah, it seems awful thin, and the problem is there's not a big future. I don't see really any reward because he's going to have to cut it with pace. He's probably going to bash up into the 11 somewhere and maybe get up. Who knows? But the 6 seems too thin. What he could do, even though this seems like an awkward position, is just chip off of the 6, meaning lay it down on the rail and lay the cue ball towards the middle diamond down here on the bottom rail. Basically leave me parallel. It's a tricky position to put somebody in because now they have to do something, or I would have to do something with the green 6. And he's got the 7 there to bank if he does that. A little surprised at that. I've got to assume that he's trying to catch the left side of the 3 and put me up on the top rail. I don't believe he's ever going to just put me here because the 7's a pretty big ball. So that cue ball could have drifted towards the 3 a little bit in his defense. But I'm going to play the 7. It's a big ball here, 4.5 inch pockets, and I played it rail first. I believe I can cut this 11 nice and easy with just extreme right spin, throw the 11 in, hold for the 12 or the 14. I'm playing for 3. Obviously just come down to bank the 6 and come up for the 1. When you have a shot like this, you want to full-on commit. I do think the 15 plays in Shane's pocket. That's never going through my mind. So I'm playing for 1 in a pretty quick game here in game number 1. The only thing I think he did wrong is maybe overlook that simple shot. That could be a lack of experience. He doesn't play the game but once or twice a year, really. But he could have chipped that 6 and left me parallel, which would have left me awkward. But I do take game number 1, and it's Wolford's break. In this point in time, I'd like to thank Bad Boys Billiard Production for their partnership. Thank you guys so much for allowing us to do this. Yeah, and I'll say it again. In my opinion, Wolford's probably one of those most dangerous people that we don't want to face. And when I say we, I'm talking about one pocket players, because they don't ever see a shot they don't like. They execute so well. He executes so well. He doesn't see too many shots he doesn't like. Here, he doesn't have a ball low, so I could just chip off the 5, but I see the 14. So maybe I'm banking it into the 8, and I'm going to keep him behind the 15 here. And it's turned out pretty good. We'll have to give myself a little credit. That turned out nice. I controlled the cue ball well. If I clip the 2 at all there, I sell the 5 out. So that turned out okay. He's going up table here. This has got to be all about cue ball. I'm assuming that's what he's going to do. Yeah, and a pretty good cue ball. And actually a pretty good shot all around. The 5 is a big problem for me here. A lot of you might say, well, I can shoot the 8. Sure, I can shoot the 8. But I'm going to go into the 14. I don't really like it. I don't know that that's the shot. You know you're going into the wrong side of the ball. Push everything his way. My whole point to that is I could shoot the 8, but I'm not even certain I come away with a shot. Should possibly lose the game. Not good percentages. Can I roll forward on the 2 and use the 15 as cover? Wow. Okay. I 2-railed that ball out and used the 15 as cover. Got something open on my side. I think I've left him enough of this 1, though. I don't think the 10 passes the 9. So if he just wanted to go forward a little bit, if I could get the other angle. Yeah, so the 9's got, I can't play the 10-5. So if he just went forward just a fraction, he can try and cinch this 1 straight back. He would get position on the 15. So I can't fault him for banking at this. Oh, he's looked to hit it really nice, too. Oh, just a fraction long. So I got away with 1 there. No doubt, because I feel like he hit that very well. Once again, I believe he's possibly got me in the kiss on the 15. It looks to be a little high. I could manipulate an angle with extreme outside. Looks like I'm trying to figure out a way to remove the 1 and 15 and protect the 5 and 12. They're definitely working for me here. Don't want to give up my position. The only concern here is if I shoot the 15 into the edge of the 1, there's a kiss there. So how do you remove those balls and protect the cue ball? That's the question. This is kind of a shot that you really have to be at the table to see or feel. I don't think I'm in love with it, that's for certain. So I went into the 15 very thinly. or very thin. I don't think thinly is a word, but it is now. So just looking at the table, looks like he's going to the 6 or the 7-6 combination, sticking me on the 4. Didn't exactly stick me. I think he wanted to cut that a little bit more. I'm not even looking at the 311.5. I don't know if that's available, but I probably looked at it from the bottom end as I'm walking around. I would assume that it's not. Yeah, it looks a little thin. So I'm going to go to the 15 soft. I did not play that. I did not play to butter him up on the 6. I played to butter him up behind the 15. So I double kissed the 15, got behind the 6, and I definitely got fortunate there. This is also a little tricky. He's got to get me up behind the 5. Yeah, it's pretty nicely done. That's really nicely done. I think I can come off the 14 here and put him back behind the 6 and 15. Like draw to the lower right diamond, or the diamond on the low right end of the long rail. Am I crossing at this ball? Okay, I shot that with the entire mindset of just covering him up on the 5. He can see the 15. If he'd like to cross at it, the only concern for him is that he's got to protect against the 1 and 7. And I really don't know what future he has because everything's tied up. Yeah, he's going to come off the 1. I can't fault him. Did I get lucky? Has he left me another gap? Or has he left me a gap? I wouldn't say another gap. And he has. I can see the 6. I really turned that ball. Like it to get another rotation. It didn't get there. So if I could draw that cue ball up above the 2 or down another diamond, which I probably should have, he can't see the 8 here. And this is important, right? So a little lazy on my part. And a great shot on Wolford's part. Really nice control. That changes everything. Sticks me to the 14, cuts me off from everything. And the 8 is available to his pocket from anywhere up table. I believe I end up coming off the 7 here and going into the 3. And the only reason I do that is because the 3 is next to the 4. So I've got some cushion to hit it with a little bit more speed and know that I'm not going to sell out. Yeah, and that's what I do. But I actually went into the 11. But I was trying to probably hit the 3. Neither here nor there. It turned out okay. So he must be able to see the 5 full. Yeah, he can't reach it, so he's playing opposite-handed. He's going to 2-rail the 15 out, 1-rail the 5 up. Oh, good shot. Very good shot. Protected the 8. got the 5 high enough to where I can't bank it. I believe he's got me snookered on the 14 as well. I can't two-rail that. The 10 looks wired, so I want to move it. A little tricky here. I guess you could chip the 5 and try and put me behind the 3 and 11. He's going to go up, so he must be trying to draw behind the 1. Oh, really nice cue ball. Oof. A nice little rub. I gave him credit he deserved. Yeah, he has me in big trouble here. He's got me completely cut off from the 8. Obviously cut off from the blue 2. Can't kick long rail to the 2. That's no good. Yeah, great control there by Wolford. So I'm looking to see if I can kick one rail to the back of the 8. Maybe even just take a foul, I'm thinking, probably. I don't want to hit it too hard to where the cue ball comes up. But if I could just get the 8 up and leave the cue ball in that area, I would. But I can't reach it or can't get to it, I mean. So I'm trying to draw back behind the 1 there. And that's typically a no-no playing 1 pocket. But that's how good a spot he had me in. And I think I've left him the 2. Or at least I've left it rail first. Yeah, I've definitely left it to him rail first. And he caught it just a fraction thick. But if he would have made the 2, I think he'd have gone into the 8 even heavier. So I guess you could say I got lucky again. But I was trying to draw back into the 1. I decelerated there. So this is kind of that scenario I was discussing earlier, when he could have left me flat on the 6, when he could have chipped it, and instead he went up table. I'm leaving him flat on the 8. It's just kind of an awkward position sometimes. He's going to come off the 5. Oh, and he's done well. All right, I immediately look at the 7 here, and I do remember this. So I'm not playing the 7 to make it, but I do notice the 12, 15, 11. I can use those to my benefit, right? By banking the 7 down table above the side pocket, getting it in play and using those balls as cover. So that's a nice play by myself, highly aware of where everything was on the table at that moment, taking advantage of the ball positions. And I think that that's a big part of the game, recognizing where everything's at. Matter of fact, I don't know that I hit the 7 thin enough because I don't want this young man shooting, and I think he's got a shot at the 12. And he might run into the back of the 7, maybe the back of the 8. And I think he is shooting. Yeah. And what a great hit he made. And that's just a big mistake on my part. He came with a great shot. But I've got to catch the 7 a little thinner to get over to this right long rail up on that top end. Now he's off to the races. He can either go into the 5 or try to hold for the 7. Oh, well done. don't know if the 5-10 play. I think the 3 might be impeding that path. Does the 11 go? Looks to me like the 11 might go. And if it doesn't, at least he can. I would still play behind the 11 here. If I can't make the 5-10 combo, I would play to get behind the 11. Oh, he's decelerated just a bit. I don't think that's going to make it. It didn't. So that is something that comes up with guys that play a lot of 9-ball, that there is a little bit of a different stroke playing one pocket. And it's easy to decelerate. Okay, there. I'm just trying to get him high enough to keep him off of the 11 or off of moving the 11. I didn't want to get too high where he could bank the 10. So a little awkward for Wolford here. He wants to come off the 10, but keep me under the 11 where I can't bank the 1 or the 11. That's what he's done. Can I 2-rail the 15 and go forward? Looks a little straight. Like the 15 might be going towards the 13, and if that's the case, I probably don't want to take that chance. I think my thought process, like I said in this match, is to keep him pinned down as much as I can. Obviously stay aggressive when the opportunity presents itself. But other than that, I've got to keep him pinned down. I've got a lot of respect for his firepower, especially on 4.5-inch pockets with new cloth. Doesn't take much to give this young man a starter. So I thought I could come off of the 9 there and do the same thing, but I guess it wasn't right. I decided to come off the 5. It turned out pretty good. Did I wire the 9 up for him? Is that why he's looking at the 13? And it looks like I may have, but he can't really get to it from up table. Is the 4 wired? It's possibly wired as well. And then is the 5 wired to my pocket? I wired everything up. Yeah, I'm feeling like an electrician there. Everything was so wired. The only thing wired is, or only thing not wired is myself right now. So I'm looking at the 9 or the 1. I feel like the 5 is close. I think you've got to catch the top side of it to throw it down. Yeah, it looks like it's aimed high to me. Boy, I'm really confident going to this ball. It looks like it's aimed high to me, so I've got to catch the top side of this ball, or maybe the bottom side of the 4 to make it. And there you have it. I was just asking for too much there. And in my opinion, obviously looking back, that's a pretty poor decision. I did not have to shoot that. And I wasn't in a bad position. I was only behind 4 balls to 1. But now I'm going to lose the game off of that decision, and rightly so. It's just going to cinch the 4. Cue ball should go into the 3. And that's what he's done. He's hit it clean. Playing for 3. Punch up for the 10. Yes, sir. Come down for the bank. Playing for 1. And nicely done by Shane Wolford. Wolford has impressed me this year. His performance at the Moscone Cup, in my opinion, was very, very good. He played solid, came with some great shots. These are our stream sponsors. Thank you so much. Hustling USA, Handcrafted JB Custom Cases, Jerry Olivier Custom Cues, Mike Littman and Littman Lights. Last but not least, Locked and Loaded Custom Billiard Apparel. So if I continue this trend by winning on my break, everything will be okay. But I definitely don't want this going to 2-2. So I've found a sweet break spot, clearly. Broken pretty good the first game, and I've got a lot of cover here the second game. To make matters worse, the 11-2 look wired to my pocket. I don't know that he can even kick to the 12. I think the 8 has that covered. From this angle, it really tells me it has it covered. Wow. So this is, yeah, he looks like he's forced to go forward on the 8. Now he spun it, so he had a funny angle, and I believe I can cut this 12. It looks steep. I think I can swerve it in. Looks pretty steep. Yeah, I was able to just swerve that in.
Never mind, it's sold.
What do I do here? You can play the 7, but do you play it below the 8-2, or do you just come across? It's not quite frozen, I don't think. I think it's a fraction off. Looking at the 2. Oh, yes, I do remember. I play the 14, 13, 11, 2 because the 2 throws down. It's aimed just a fraction high. And I think I draw back out for the 6 and 10 next. Yeah, and that was wired. It made me look good there. Made me look real good, and that's hard to do. So this ball was wired up. 14, 13, 11, 2. The 6 did pass the 8, or does pass the 8, and that's why I drew the cue ball back out. Obviously, I have the 10 as well. I think the 14's got me covered on the 10, though. A lot of times, you'll shoot that shot, and something will creep right in front of the cue ball, and you'll end up with nothing. Fortunate to get a shot here. Looks like it's kind of tight. I think I've got a whole pocket. Definitely had a whole pocket. Here I think I want to nudge the 4. Don't get too cute, but just nudge the 4. Well, I nudged it, but I went into the 15 first, which was dangerous in my opinion, so need to rethink that next time. Just drop down for the 13. Overamped. Big error there. I think I'm looking at playing the back cut 9-13 combo and going to the 3 there, which is slightly risky. Yeah, if we can get the other angle. So here, I do remember, I'm just going to lock him to the 15. I really don't care where the 11 finishes. One good thing that I noticed there that I've been working on is I didn't show any negativity when I didn't get position on the 13, whether it's Wolford or whoever my opponent may be. They'll feed off of that negativity. So I'm happy to move on here in this position. What can Wolford do? Huh. Seven's a pretty big ball. Oh, that's pretty cute. That's not bad. A really nice cue ball there. I do have the 14. Looks semi-free. Really not a fan of that word free shot, especially at this level. If I miss this ball, I'm sure I could leave Wolford something. So it's not necessarily free. I stayed down pretty good there. Don't have a shot on the 13. At least I don't believe I do. I'm wanting to swerve or bend the cue ball around the 9 and swerve it in. That's a little risky, especially against Wolford. The 3, 1, 11, they're available if he knocks the 4 down or the 9. So got to just keep him contained. And, you know, that's the game plan, and you have to stick with it unless it's not working. So he's definitely in go mode here, looking to cut the 4. Caught it a fraction thick. Can't fault him for shooting that. That tells me if he hit it right to where he hit it to make it, he's going to go into the 7 pretty full. And those balls all go in his pocket over there. So I can't fault him for that shot at all in that position, especially as straight as he shoots. I feel like I'm in a tricky spot here. I think I've got to nip off the left side of the 4 and use the 4 to cover that 13 up. Did I get high enough to where the 9 covers up this bank? Looks close. He's going to swerve. You know what? That ball actually did swerve in. I think he just hit it a fraction hard. I am going to get game number 1, or excuse me, I'm going to get game number 3. But he hit that just a fraction hard. I think if he hits it a little easier, it has time to turn both the cue ball and the object ball. So that being said, I'm fortunate to walk away with game number 3. Better contact that time. I can't figure out what's happening there, but he's not getting a ball low. And that's not to say that he always has these results. Just isn't getting a ball low, so it kind of gives me a little breathing room as far as, for a passive shot to get me out of the inning at minimum, right? I'm not saying things are going to get better for me from here, but I can at least chop off of that ball. Now, something I think that he should look at here, and this could be lack of experience, is possibly kicking into the 6 full. Maybe just catching just the top side of it. I think the 12 will catch the 14. He could keep me behind the pile. Yeah, instead of moving that ball, which was helping him, I think he could have taken a look at kicking at the 6. And I'm just saying just hard enough to get a ball to a rail and just put me in more trouble. Not that I'm not in trouble, but I might find something here. And I'm going to two-rail kick to the 10. So now he's removed the 13 that was kind of in play for him. He can still kick to those balls, but I don't think he's going to get as much out of it as he could have if he'd have done it an inning prior. That's all I'm getting at. And this is a steeper kick, right? So I think he's got to spin the ball a little bit more, where your accuracy might not be quite as good. He's obviously pretty confident with the 13 going off the 14 to hold the 13 on his side. That's what it's done. Not terrible, but if he would have contacted the 6 heavy, he keeps me behind the pile. Here, I can remove the 13 and maybe more. Yeah, so that's a shot I show in my clinic. I did a little extra, went up into the pile to open something up on my side, which is the blue 2. Don't just hit that ball soft enough to get up in the pack. Hit it with a little more pace. There's no way that cue ball's making it through the entire pack. And this is a really good shot here. Didn't look like he did much, but he's cut me off from everything, and everything is laying nice for him. That 14 and 1 are big problems for me. And clearly the 5 is as well. And it looks to me like the 4-9 might be wired to his pocket. So I think I'm forced to come off the 12 here. Jiggle that 9 a little bit so it doesn't go. Did I say jiggle? My money doesn't jiggle. It folds. I think that used to be something they were all saying back in the day. I feel like I went a little further than I wanted. Wanted to come down to that center diamond right there on the lower end of the table. He's looking at the 6 carrying off the 4 into the 12. It doesn't look bad from here, but I feel like you've got to hit this with pace to get the 12 to the hole. Yeah, and he's leveling out, so he's going to hit this with some speed. Dangerous. Well, he put a lot of left on that. He killed it off the second rail. I'm talking about the cue ball. The 12 did come short, but he had pretty good control. No position, but good control. Okay, my concern here is selling out the 6. Yeah, my concern here is selling out the 6, so I want to catch the 12 a little easier, but still hold my cue ball up. And I actually played it like that. My concern was if I caught the 12 thick and hit it with speed, the 12 could come off the bottom of one of those balls and possibly leave Shane across corner. So he's immediately going to the 14, playing all cue ball here. Pretty good shot. Nothing wrong with it. Would have liked to have caught it a little fatter. Maybe get more out of the 14. But there's nothing wrong with that shot. I'm go into the 13 here and follow forward. I'd like to get something over to my side even more. And I've done the opposite. I've tied up one of the only balls that was working for me, which is the blue 2. So rocket science was not my major. Looking at 2-railing the 3 and going all the way up. Oh yeah, pretty good hit there. Actually stunned his cue ball up. Really good hit there. And I remember this as well. I get fortunate. I have a window to the 3, but I think I've got to spin it a little, just a fraction of high right. But I can pretty much see the whole ball. So I'm using what we call high karate, an extreme high cue ball to kill it versus low, instead of using low. So also remember this scenario. I believe that he can bank this 6 because he's going to catch a piece of the 9 and go into the bottom of the 2 and 11. And in doing that, he might get a shot on the 15. It looks crazy. It looks steep. This angle doesn't look so bad. I can promise you, Tony Chohan, myself, probably going to twist that 6 back towards my pocket. And you can't say that that's the wrong shot that he just shot, because it's not. He played a good shot. But my escape is still pretty easy, right? It's not like I'm in a dire position here. Still trying to get something open on my side. And once again, I've made it worse. He's going to go to the 3. Like to hit this pretty fat. Just get it down past the 7. Keep me up in that top left. Oh, and he's overcut it. He's done the only thing he really didn't want to do. And I promise you, he didn't want to overcut that ball. The good news for him is that even if the 8 or 12 go, which I don't think they do, I'm running into the 7. So I think I could just bunt the 7 towards the left side pocket on my side of the table. Leave my cue ball down here in the lower right corner, somewhere around that area. And this keeps him from getting to the top end of the table now. Now he's got to think about it. Yeah, so that cuts him off from a lot of options as far as putting pressure on me and going back up table with the cue ball. He's going to the 15. And he's caught it a little thick, but the cue ball looks good. He's not happy with it. I mean, it was difficult. The shot was difficult. Asking a lot of himself there. I'd like to be able to just twist that 13 with inside English and just hold my cue ball right there on the 11. Just 2-rail the 13 like in front of my pocket somewhere. But it's a little too thin. The 11's got me just by a fraction. So I think I've just got to come off the 5 here. Come back down to the lower right. And once again, nothing against Wolford. He's actually a buddy of mine. He's a great young man. I love his family. His parents are great people. Some of the best, actually. Corey and Trina, shout out to them. But I don't mind playing the moving game with him, right? It's pretty evident that I've got a little more experience playing the game. So I'm okay with doing something like this. And he's the opposite, right? He wants to be the aggressor. He wants to play the game where the balls are open and fire at your hole or fire at a bank or something like that, because he's also aware of the fact that the longer the game goes, the more I'm going to be favored. And it's just common sense. It's got nothing to do with any arrogance or ego. He just doesn't have the experience playing the game. Doesn't mean he's not deadly. So now I'm starting to manipulate the balls a little bit more, get a little more space between them. Still don't really think they're favoring me due to the 1, 5, 4, 15. And he's doing a real good job at keeping me off of those balls. I move that finger a lot. That's kind of annoying. I'm just keeping him down here on this bottom rail. Is he playing the 9 off the 12? See, here I would probably just attempt to move them up table. Okay, he has. The 9 was headed his way. A little fortunate the 12 didn't get in front of my pocket or kiss the 2. But still, to my point, he's the aggressor here. He doesn't want them going up table. So pretty good shot. He's left me in a pretty awkward position due to the positioning of the 12. These balls still favoring Wolford a little bit. I think here, even if I have to take a foul, I've got to get behind the 9. What I'm looking at there is thinning the 12 to my side, maybe coming up behind the 15. But that's real touchy, right? If I overhit it or hit the 12 too thin, I'm going to sell the 15 out. Or I could sell a bank out. So here I'm chipping off the ball, coming behind the 9. It turned out okay. Not too bad. I feel like here he can chip this 9. You've got to hit it thin. From this angle, it doesn't look possible, but you can graze the 9 and get me behind the 12. And just keep me doubled up behind the 9 and 12. Or the 12 and 9. But the 7 has been moved. So it no longer goes in my pocket, I don't believe. And that's what he just looked at. So the up table play is now also available. His touch is really nice. Really nice touch. This has got me in an awkward position. The 11-2 looks good, but it's not on. I'd have to cut the 11 a lot to make the 2. The 8 doesn't go. Yeah, he's got me in a position here. I can't go forward on the 15. I'm afraid to leave him a bank on the 12. What I end up doing here is crossing the 15 and going into the edge of the 9. And I felt like I might be able to catch the 9, and if I did, I'd be okay. But what I hit, the English, was high right. Typically on this 15 ball bank, you want to use high inside to go towards like the 5 and 4. I used high right to avoid the kiss on the 15, and it would also allow me more insurance to go into the edge of the 9. It ended up turning out okay. because I was in a pretty tricky spot here. I used just a pinch of right. And I got a good kiss right there on the 9 and 15. Did help me quite a bit. I don't think I would have sold anything out anyway, but that kiss was definitely favorable for me. Yeah, so what he's looking at there is the 7 doesn't pass the 9. And I don't even think the 9 passes the 15. So he can bank the 8 and get me on that long rail on the top left side and get position. He's just hit it a fraction short. But boy, he could have really hurt me there. That's how bad a position he had me in the shot prior when he went up table on me. So he's continuing to apply that pressure to me. He's very good at it. So he's got the right mind for the game. There's no doubt about it. And that's what these other guys like Josh Filler, even Fedor Gorst, even though Fedor's got a little different style. He's a little more controlled, but they're so good at keeping pressure on you as far as forcing balls to their pocket. So that shot there, I'd like to touch on real quick as well. If you're in that position, I played that shot so softly, I felt like even if I didn't hit the 8 going in and I didn't get a rail, it was worth it, right? So don't be afraid to hit it that soft. And if you don't catch the 8 going in, it's still worth it because you're going to have him pinned behind it. What you have working for you is the 12. So I got a little fortunate to catch the 8 going in, but I kind of played it. And then I like this play he played here. I thought it was the right play. He just didn't get the cue ball over enough. If he gets it over a full ball, he really cuts me off. I can get to the 15. It's a little flat, but we're working with bigger pockets here. I end up shooting it. Yeah, my concern here is, and I don't even know if I can see all of the 8. My concern here is, once again, the 12 ball. That's the biggest problem for me in this game. Because he's putting the 8 positions of threat, I've got to do something with it. And in turn, I've got to defend against the 12. And I was real punchy there. My Q-tip come up and everything, but I was trying to force an angle. Somehow managed. Now I do have a shot on the combination. I am going to go into the 10 here, though, because it is a little steeper than it looks, this combination. But I believe I play position off the 10 to the 13 or the 6. And I almost overcut this combination as well. It catches the low end of the pocket. Just wiggles its feet. And here I've fallen flat on the 6. So I just stopped my ball to play the 12 next. Okay, I had a little angle to draw back. But I still think I'm too steep here. I could try and draw below the 10. Yeah, and that's what I'm going to do. Okay, but my concern is that I've got to hit it with a little pace, and I could end up in no man's land. So I end up coming between the 13 and 10. like so. And I think that's a safer play. As long as you put enough spin on it, you know you're going to be clear of the 13. I'm playing for 4. I'd like to punch down here for the 8 due to the position of the 9 and 11, but I don't want to risk scratching. If I get there, I get there. If I don't, I don't. So I take what I've got here. And I think I'm a little flat to go into the 9. So I decide the combo's pretty high percentage. So I measure out to play position up there. I think yeah, I'm only off about 4 feet with that position. I even told myself good shot, so not too good there. Feeble, very feeble attempt. So he's negative a ball. I need 2 for the match. His mindset is he's got to get back in the match, and I can't fault him. He hit this ball really well. And it would have helped him a lot. Well, not a lot, but it probably would have benefited him if that ball doesn't go. Not even probably. It would have benefited him. So he owes 1. He's going to chop off the 8. The ball that he owes is going to come up. And we'll play from there. I could possibly entertain twisting this 14 back, but my concern would be catching the 9. If I do, there's a risk of leaving Wolford straight in. This is a pretty common sense shot that a lot of people play. Really trying to just get the cue ball on the bottom rail, and I was weak at that, playing the 14 2 rails back up table. And that was a real nice hit. He got the most out of it. His cue ball, once again, is really good. Even knocks the 7 in. And he needs to get balls in play because he owes 1. Or excuse me, he's even. He made that bank. But he needs all of them but 2 balls, basically. So, yeah. He needs to get something happening, and I can't blame him for shooting in his pocket. You can almost sense that he wants to shoot at his pocket. And once again, really good cue ball. My thought process here is to really just keep him off the shot. I thought that here I might trick him into trying to 2 rail the 7 or the 9. The 11 is in the way. Doesn't quite get the cue all the way down this time, and I think I overlook a shot here. I think I could have possibly banked the 9 due to where the 4, 5, and 1 were. Nothing wrong with this shot, but I think I could have banked at the 9 there. So I think one of my faults nowadays is that sometimes I get too defensive. I used to be too offensive. Now I'm just too defensive. Here, I think I just am supposed to bump the 5 to the top rail. Like, bank it towards the chalk softly and just lay the cue ball over there on the rail. but I've left him straight in on the 4 as far as the bank is concerned. So I think I overthought that. Definitely overhit it. And this new cloth, I don't even know if that ball was makeable soft because it's going to lengthen out quite a bit. And that's what it did. I like to get this over to my side of the table, somewhere around the side pocket or a little bit above it. That way it keeps him off of any threat of maybe banking the 5 or the 11. He's got to defend against the 4 now. And that's nicely done as well. Really got the most out of that. I think I'm just going to chop the 9 towards the top right pocket and come down. Okay, I didn't want to come all the way down. I was concerned of leaving him the 4. So this is for certain the part of the game that he doesn't fully know, just due to, lack of experience. I've been playing the game literally 28 years or 30 years, the game of one pocket, and I still don't know everything up table. You'll never know everything. So there are some things he's most likely going to overlook. And that's not one of them. That was a nice shot. He wants to get balls in play and got something to his side and put the 8 in play. There's nothing wrong with that shot. His head is definitely shaped right for the game. And that's kind of what we say in one pocket. It doesn't take long to know whether a good 9-ball player has the potential to be a good one pocket player. And Shane Wolford, without a doubt, has that potential. Well, forget about the potential. He already is a great one pocket player. So I remember this. I knew I was probably going to let him get a peek at the 4, but I didn't feel like the value was there for him due to where the 3 is at. Felt like if he goes forward, he could scratch off the 3. He's going to bank the 4 to the lower right, but the 11 plays in my pocket. I just felt like it was too risky for him to shoot. He caught it a little thick. He didn't hit it bad, but he caught it a little thick. Problem was, I don't know what type of future was really there if he makes it. Although he probably could have banked the 3 if he does make it. Here, I think I'm just trying to lay it up in my pocket. If I make it, it's a bonus. Just not trying to hit it too fat and leave him across corner. So that's what I was thinking there. Some people would think, well, he left me the 8. Well, the problem there is if I mishit it at all, I could sell out the 11, the 7, anything. Let's not forget, when you're leading 6 balls to 0, there's no reason to take a chance in losing the game versus winning it. Once again, just trying to keep him contained. Does have a 2-railer on the 1. or the 7. Little tough. And he decelerated just a bit there again. That's how he got into the 7 so much. My thought process here is once again pretty similar to the 4 that I had just a minute ago. I'm going to hit this with pocket speed, and if I make it, it's a bonus. Obviously, I'm trying to make it. But if not, hang it up. Gets me on the hill as far as 1 ball. He doesn't have any, so he'd have to spot it up and go back a ball. So the value in hanging it up is there. I catch it clean and knock it in. So I'm playing for 1. Now these balls have taken shape to where they really don't favor Wolford, because I know how to manipulate the wedge pretty good, thanks to a couple years of working with Nick, or playing Nick Varner when he was really close to his prime when I was young. I decided my offensive game was so good, I decided I needed to really work on my up table end of the game. Money was really good in one pocket back then, and I knew if I could polish my end game up, that I'd have a chance at being somebody. For a while, anyway. He's just trying to open some stuff up to where he can figure something out, get something started, and I'm trying to do the same, but the opposite. Keep him contained. I've been on his end sheet many times, and it's not fun, but it sure is when you're on the other end. Here, just kind of gets down and shoots. Left me the 9. Now, I do not understand my thought process here, and I make a huge error. I kind of get away with it. But I feel like I'm supposed to just roll this in, and once again, if I hang it up, it's as good as winning, basically. Instead, I feel confident about making it, I think, and I just decide to hit it with pace. I stayed down well. I just caught it too thick. But the wrong shot altogether, neither here nor there, the wrong shot. I'm supposed to roll that ball in. He tries to 2-rail it. It comes up a little bit short off that second rail. This is a shot that I do teach in my clinic. It's a 2-rail kick. You just catch the ball heavy and you don't have to overhit it. The 9 will get to the rail. High cue ball. A little bit of inside English. And it really kind of reverses things. Puts your opponent in a bad position to where they have to defend against that ball. And once again, he goes for another 2-railer. Can't fault him. He's not getting a lot of looks at anything. And he leaves the 1. I do make this one. Stay down well. I will say, though, big credit to Wolford. He's a great player. His mind is shaped right for the game. It's been a lot of fun to do this. I hope you guys picked something up throughout this player review. That's really the process and the meaning of it. Thank you so much to Railbirds TV, Kevin Ross, Bad Boys Billiards, and hopefully we get to do this again. You guys have a good night. Until next time, I'll talk to you soon.